And my two guests have played a role in that in a couple of different ways, and we're really excited to have with us John Creedon from Creedon and Company and owner of the Worcester Bravehearts baseball team, and Dave Peterson, I was going to say Peterman because of the nickname, Dave Peterson, who's the general manager of the Worcester Bravehearts. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Well, guys, we got a lot to talk about. The phenomenal success that the Bravehearts have had now in their third season, the work that you two have done. But before we kind of get into the All-Star game, which is coming up, and just some of the things that are going to go along with the All-Star game, let's just tend to talk a little bit how the Bravehearts got here. John, you're second-generation business, Creedon and Company. I think it's a great story, and it's a story that's emblematic of how many of our businesses grow, and it's why it's so important that we support our businesses and our members in trying to create an environment where they can grow and expand. But your dad started Creedon and Company how?
So yeah, back in 1985, he started the company very modestly. It was the diner on the street level of a three-decker in Quinsigamond Village. Kind of greasy spoon, breakfast and lunch kind of place. And then he always had a passion and interest for catering. So outside of the diner hours, he started a catering operation and developed a pretty loyal following through that. And then organically, catering customers started asking for tents, tables, and chairs for their events. And he took another leap and acquired a small inventory of those things and just kept growing the tent side of the business and then the catering side of the business. And so now, you know, the catering is kind of centralized around Worcester, typically within about an hour's drive of Worcester, and then the tents were more regional and sometimes national. with our installations.
And it's your dad, your sister, you know, real family business.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, my dad started it when I was 5 and my sister was 3. Before that, he worked at the Shrewsbury Pizzeria, and he used to bring home the pizza dough for us to play with, and I remember that vividly. My sister's, she's younger than me, but she's actually been with the company longer than I have, so I do whatever she tells me.
Right. You're a recovering lawyer. Having practiced
so.
law here in the city, you decided to go back into the family business.
I did, and it's funny, you know, people kind of ask me why, and I've reflected on that. And I think what ultimately drove me into law school was having grown up in a small family business and kind of see my dad, you know, get kicked in the teeth here and there, and kind of different lessons in business and contracts and eminent domain and torts and all these sorts of things. And I kind of wanted to gain as much of a complete understanding of those things that I could. And then so I was able to practice law for about 5 years. And then I think what drove me into the law ultimately pulled me back into the family business to try to keep growing that.
You know, and in that 30 years, you go from the first floor of a 3-decker in Quincy Village. You grew to a place that ultimately there was eminent domain because of the Route 146 project. Right. And now you're in right off of Grafton Street, Joma Road, in a pretty big facility. So as the business has grown, you've had to move and expand, and employees too.
Right. Yeah. So it's you know, it's all a big juggle, and you know, we've got a wonderful workforce. They're very loyal. We go out of our way to take good care of them, and they help us to do what we do really well. So we're very thankful for the folks on our team. Right.
Dave, you know, we're going to kind of go back and forth here a little bit, but you know, you're a legendary figure in Central Massachusetts. You had been involved with the Tornadoes, and you know, we had a little spell where baseball was not happening, and thanks to John and his family kind of bringing it back 3 years ago. But you know, what is it that attracted you to be a part of the Bravehearts and join the Creedon family?
Well, in terms of the community and baseball, as you mentioned, was with the Tornadoes, and I saw the community embrace baseball. And you know, in 2005, when baseball came back to Worcester for the first time in 73 years, there was just this electricity in the city. And I remember being there on opening night and seeing the crowd show up and just seeing the smiles on people's faces, because this is a historic place for baseball. When you think about the first perfect game being pitched here in Worcester, Casey at the bat being written here in Worcester, Ted Williams, Babe Ruth, all of the legends that have come through here. And so when I heard about this model of the collegiate baseball league, the Futures Collegiate Baseball League, I had actually known John. I had met him the first time on basically a catering job that he was doing back in 2003 down at the Woodstock Fair. And I was working with a local radio station at the time. And so, 10 years later, who would know that our paths would cross again, and it would be baseball this time.
Right.
Two things that, we weren't even thinking about it at the time, but I'm absolutely thrilled to be involved in baseball with a local ownership group, because that is a huge difference between what this team is and what the former team used to be.
Right, and it was 3 years ago, probably this week, when John, my first month on the job at the Chamber, and you asked me to kidnap former city manager O'Brien in his time as city manager, and we went to go to Pittsfield for the future Collegiate League Baseball All-Star game at Wacona Park. And that's when you said, look, I'm interested in maybe bringing this future Collegiate Baseball League model to Worcester. Your family was prepared to make an investment to do that. What is it that kind of said, we're going to expand our business? We went from a diner to catering and events and tents to expand even more into baseball.
Right. So, we kind of looked at the opportunity. On the business side, we felt like it made sense for Creedon and Company, because one of our strengths is kind of public concessions and hospitality, catered picnics and outdoor events. So we kind of looked at a baseball season with 56 games, as half of those are going to be at home, so 28 games,
right.
With a crowd of 1,000 or 2,000 people, to be able to share food and refreshments with and keep them happy. And so we kind of looked at that stream of occasions for the concessions opportunity and felt that it was pretty consistent with our core business at Creedon and Company. So, we had some internal discussions at Creedon and Company, and my dad and sister gave me a little leeway to kind of go pursue this project. And
the other piece of, it's in the name, the Futures Collegiate Baseball League. It also plays on a real strength of Worcester and Central Massachusetts, is kind of the collegiate baseball players. And you have a number of players who played for our local colleges or played here locally at high schools.
Right. I think it's a great brand. I think it's a great fit. And immediately when we were in Pittsfield, you kind of identified that, Worcester's a college community and this is a great fit. I mean, for the players themselves, it's a great way for them to get more exposure playing the game than they otherwise might have gotten.
Right.
So we had one player that was on ESPN Top 10 SportsCenter 3 times. We've had a few other appearances on ESPN. So, and that young man, Ian Strom, from Hopedale, went to UMass Lowell, was drafted by the Mets about a month ago, and now he's playing professionally in their farm system.
We just got a few seconds, but he was on ESPN. They do the top 10 plays. How many times? 2 or 3 times?
3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Catching his catches, and that's great.
Yeah.
It's great for the kid, in UMass Lowell baseball and Hopedale, and it's great for the Bravehearts, and it's great for Worcester and the region.
Absolutely, and if we didn't have a league like this that focused on the local talent around New England, who knows if he would have ever achieved that type of success. So it's a great piece of PR for us to say that a kid from Hopedale is now playing in the New York Mets system.
And it wouldn't have happened without the good folks at Charter being there to film.
That's right.
Great
There we
Exactly.
go. Thank you, Charter, and they're going to let us come right back to talk a little bit more about baseball. But as much as it's about baseball and fun and a great experience, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We talked about how this started. Creedon and Company, your dad, an entrepreneur with a small diner, and what that's grown into. And John, we were talking just the other day, and this, as I said in the intro, this show is about talking about what our members are doing, promoting business and economic development advocacy. It's really about job creation. And you said something to me the other day that just, I think, really reinforces it. And just last week, you mentioned that you and your dad and your sister were doing payroll, and 147 checks you had to sign, people getting paid.
Yeah, it struck us. Our Creedon and Company and Bravehearts team has grown significantly and rapidly. We noticed the other day, back in 2009, Creedon and Company was lucky enough to be named the Worcester Business Journal Family Business of the Year for small businesses, 25 employees and less.
Right.
So that was 2009, and now here we are, 2016, and we've got quite a few more employees than that. So growth is, we're getting quick lessons in growth too.
Right. Well, that's great, and obviously your ability to bring back baseball. Hanover Insurance stepped up, so you got Hanover Park at Fit and Field. The College of the Holy Cross stepped up, and we have a great experience for families, affordable experience for families where they come have baseball, but it's also an experience. And why don't you guys talk about how you've created that?
When you look at a collegiate league like this, you want to obviously perform well on the field, but so much happens off the field that John and I talk quite a bit now about how we're trying to attract people who might not even be baseball fans. And so we talk also about expanding the footprint of the ballpark and having other activities going on at the ballpark that might bring in someone that is just looking for an alternative to going to the movies or going to an amusement park with their kids. And so that's why we brought in there's a mini golf course now underneath the stands, and you honestly can't even see the baseball game from there. But people come to the ballpark to bring their kids. They go down, they play mini golf, maybe they jump on the bouncy house, they let the kids run across the outfield in the 6th inning. And at the end of the night, hey, it'd be great if the Bravehearts won, and so far in the past 2 seasons we've done a good job at that, but overall it's about entertainment. It's about being the Disney World of Worcester.
And fireworks on occasion too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
No doubt, experience for people of all ages. But as it comes to the baseball, as you mentioned, Dave, you've done very well. 2 seasons into the 3rd now, in the first 2 seasons, winning the championship for the Future Collegiate Baseball League. That's kind of like the icing on the cake.
It's pretty crazy, and I think the first 2 seasons were a tale of 2 seasons. One, out of the gate, the team was very strong and just kind of kept that going all summer long. Last summer, it was a different story. The team struggled, had 10 losses in a row right at the beginning of the season. We were kind of in a funk, and lo and behold, they came together and did their job, and they got it done.
Well, speaking of a job, you guys got a job to do. You're hosting the Future Collegiate Baseball League All-Star Game July 13th. Again, All-Star experience. Why don't you just say what it involves? 50 players, All-Stars in the league, a whole bunch of events around this.
Yeah. Sure. Scouts from all 30 Major League Baseball teams will be right here in the city of Worcester. We're talking about
hotel rooms,
restaurants, yeah, absolutely,
helping the economy.
9 other teams from around New England descending on Worcester for this event, and everything that goes with an All-Star game, a home run derby, the actual game, a broadcast here on Charter TV 3, and then an added piece that is the first time we've ever done this. We're going to shut down Fitton Ave, which is the road right behind the ballpark, and turn it into the experience that you might find on Yawkey Way at a Red Sox game. So that entire road closed to traffic, just pedestrians with food and music and carnival games and booths, and I think that is one of the new ways that we can also entertain people when they come to the ballpark, particularly for those 2 hours leading up to game time. We're thrilled. This is an opportunity that comes around once every 8 to 10 years, so we've got to do it right.
And some special things going to happen. You've got Tim Collins. Why don't we talk about the bobbleheads for a minute?
Sure. So we've got 1,000 Tim Collins bobbleheads that we're going to give away at the All-Star Game to the first 1,000 fans through the gate. And of course, Tim's got a wonderful story. Proud alum of Worcester Technical High School. Pitches for the Kansas City Royals, who won the World Series last year. So that's great. There's going to be post-game fireworks. Sam James from The Voice, a local Worcester guy, he's going to be performing live at the ballpark. There's going to be a trampoline show in between the home run derby and the All-Star Game. So lots of other components to this experience.
Car Financial is bringing in Renee Rencourt to sing the national anthem.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, so, and that's really the pomp and circumstance that comes with hosting the premier event of the Futures League every year.
And very affordable to see the best players in the league. Have all these other things. If people interested in tickets, how do they get that? What do they need to do?
$10 general admission tickets available by calling our office at 508-438-3773. They can also purchase online at worcesterbravehearts.com. But it's a great affordable evening of watching hopefully some players that 5 years from now will be playing in the major leagues.
Right, and we've seen some of the players already have done that, right? And going on, and you mentioned Ian Strong with those catches, already in the league. And the question everyone's asking, is a three-peat possible? You've got two championships, rings. We don't want to jinx anything. We don't want to jinx anything, but
That's right.
For all of your hard work in helping to align the stars and bring baseball back to Worcester, and then with last year's success, we wanted to present you with a
awesome
2015 championship ring.
We got our 2015 Future Collegiate Baseball ring. here. We appreciate what you got one on, John. Why don't you show what we got?
Oh yeah.
Some good
Look at
good
that.
stuff. Well, we'd love to see the three-peat here in Worcester, but want to thank both of you for everything you've done in terms of just giving all of Central Mass and people from beyond an incredible experience. And one of the things that we've also heard, talking to the commissioner of the league, Chris Hall, and others who've kind of come into the city, that what an experience that visiting teams and players have, and what it says to them about what Central Mass and Worcester has to offer.
Yeah, I mean, the success of the Bravehearts is not about Dave or myself. It's really the community's gotten behind it. Key corporate partners, key community partners, key nonprofit partners, key leaders in the city have really kind of propelled this project, and we've made it Worcester's team, and we're just so blessed and fortunate for that.
Yeah, well, we're thrilled on lots of different levels, and not among the least is the jobs and what it means, but it also, as we've talked about, an experience, quality baseball, bringing people into the city in the summer, and just a great venue. So we're going to thank our sponsors of the show, Worcester Bravehearts, for being with us. All-Star Game, July 13th, but also throughout the rest of the summer, great baseball.